Hello, Louise. Hello, E.
Hello.
Hello, Susan. Hello, Luis.
Just setting up my window here. Hi, Josh.
Hello. Let's see, is the camera working? There we go.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. You
Josh, is
have
that
a
a special
very,
effect? Very dark background.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm just asking this. We have a
I
cool
live in
background.
total darkness. That's how.
I think Binbin and Akash are out of office today, so I think we have everyone to get started. Can everyone see my screen?
I can.
Thanks.
Yes.
Today is January 10th. We'll go through the PRs first, and then we'll come back to the discussion items to see if anyone have anything to cover today. So we don't have a lot in the queue today. First one, 1244. So I went through the challenges of adding the validation method to the plugin interface on the Monday PR review meeting. So I think we had a follow-up brainstorm session with Binbin and Juncheng. We might just do a simple validation of if plugin exists first, and then since adding the version check requires running the plugin, which could be a breaking change to our existing GA version, we might hold off, but we're still discussing how to move forward for the version check. So yeah, I'll be continuing to modify 1244, but we might close it and open another PR to track the finding existence validation of the plugin. So that will be tracked separately. Next PR 1246, cosine upgrade design doc. So this PR is open for review. Akash is on leave, but he did want us to go through the doc, and then we can discuss it once he comes back. So feel free to go through that asynchronously. Next one, 1257. This one is a functional rename for readability improvement. I see all the tests are passing, so I've signed off on this change. Just checking if Juncheng is on the call. It's not yet here, but I'll let him know that that one is ready to merge. Next one, 1258, handle standard error and standard out messages from plugin. Thanks for that PR, Josh. I've left some comments on this PR. The change itself looks great. I think we just need to address some of the failing checks at the moment. I think the code coverage check is failing.
Let's see here. All checks. Yeah, code coverage patch project. I can look at those details. And then review your comments too. And then yeah, if there's any kind of refactoring that we want to do, like this is just the working you know, messy type version. So if we want to abstract anything or create helpers, like more than happy to work on that as well. But I'll go through your comments too. The one question I have, where should I put tests for that logic? Like, are there existing, like I think the xe.go has a test. Is that where I should put in some additional return kind of unit tests?
Yeah, that'll be great. So the file, the change is in exec.go.
Mhm.
Does this already have a corresponding exec_test.go?
I think there's one. Let me open up the project. I didn't create one. There might be one that exists that I could add more tests to.
Yeah, so let me quickly have a look on the path. So most of our utility method already have unit tests, some unit test coverage. So
Oh, there it is. Yep.
once you
Exact test echo.
extract the scanning loops into the individual functions, you should be able to add simple unit test. You
Okay,
can
so
have a
kind
look
of,
at the existing test infrastructure.
okay. Do you mind opening up the exec go? Just make sure I'm
Yeah.
understanding right.
Sure. So back to the pull request.
And then, yeah, so kind of wrap that line 102 to 115 in a function. That way I can unit test it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that is the comment that I've left here, that at the moment we require a coverage level around 60 to 70%. That's the unit test level we have in
Okay.
the main branch. Ideally, the higher the better, but
Mhm.
70%
Gotta
is
have a
where we're
minimum
at.
bar, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, so those helper functions, is there a package I should include them in, or should I just put them in the exec go at the bottom as a function? You know,
Yeah,
what's
I
the
think
kind
that'll
of,
be fine.
okay, I can do that.
What are the other tests? So today we have test plugin error. Okay, that's the only test we have.
Okay.
So
I can add a
looking
couple
forward.
more.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I just added some like minor comments around like there's a comment about should this line be removed?
Yeah,
So
that's actually a
wondering,
discussion item. I can remove that. But yeah, so previously what would happen with standard errors, it would just be shoved into standard out and then discarded. That's, you know, right there. The 121 is what I was questioning. So it doesn't need to be there now that we're processing them. So I just wanted to confirm like that's okay to remove in the PR as well as those two lines we can just delete.
yeah. I
Okay.
think if we already saved the log somewhere, it's safe to delete.
Okay.
I've
I'll
also
remove it.
just added, so we have this little section in the default PR template about testing. So I've left some ideas for different scenarios that we could validate, like when we get a success verification report versus a failure one, even though the syntax may be the same. Maybe when the plugin returned an error instead of an actual verification report, and differences between built-in and external plugins. Like I'm wondering if they go through any different code path. So these are just some ideas. Feel free to pick whichever one you believe is relevant for the code
Okay.
change. Yeah, so
Sounds
just
good.
some minor comments.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Glad to get it working. There's one, a few caveats, I guess, with the changes that I put in there. I didn't account for, because it looks like the way that the package was written, the JSON will always be returned last. And so I didn't account for if there's any kind of a change in that, where JSON can be returned in the middle, that parsing logic assumes that each line, like it either has an error in it or it has the JSON in it. So if they were to merge somehow and have them on both lines, then the parser would fail. And then the verify reference report would return like a JSON invalid, like it did before.
Mm.
But I figured that wasn't worth coding in because the way it returns is it's always on a new line, with the current executor logic. So that's just one
Got it.
one
Yeah,
little
would you
comment
be
to add.
able to, yeah, include that just in the comment?
Sure. Just a comment on the PR.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Oh,
problem.
sorry, not on the PR, in the code somewhere.
Oh yeah,
You
I
may
can make a
have
comment.
noticed that we leave like some like
Yeah,
junior
little
comment that
breadcrumbs.
says,
Yeah, I like that. I'll
yeah.
make sure I do that.
Thank you. Just checking the chat window. Oh, okay, Louise had to drop, no problem. Cool. So any other comments on this PR?
No, I mean the image kind of shows the gist. So with these changes, it'll allow you to, from the sample, from your plugin, whether it's in the skeleton or in your plugin file, it will be able to, if you write to standard error or to standard out, it will parse them and return them, and then always return the verifier results last. So that way it's kind of like, here's the plugin execution stream, top to bottom, and then your results are on the end. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps with the SBOM that you're working on.
Yeah, it'll definitely help with any debugging that we're doing. Yeah, I wonder if it will like immediately benefit the plugins that's out there or only plugin that gets recompiled. Do you know, Josh?
Only
You don't have
ones,
to recompile the plugin to get the logs, do you?
no, you don't, but you would need to recompile to add your debugging messages to it.
Yep.
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 Mhm.
That's great. We also moving on to our next repository, the documentation repository. I have two PRs here, just minor PRs. First one, number 50, Feynman, we discussed last week to add a summary table for the plugins we have and their versions as they live today in the repository. Thank you for the sign off. Do we have any other pending things before we merge?
Bingbing has reviewed this PR. I'm not sure if we need to wait for Bingbing's sign off. But if this is not very urgent, I would expect Bingbing take another look.
Yeah.
And in general, in other CNCF projects like Notary project and Auras, we usually merge a PR after 2 approvals from the maintainer list. Yeah.
Yeah. It is something that we can set up if we want to, right? It is like a hard check. You can set somewhere in GitHub that like require 2 approvals.
Yeah, that is available. That policy is available, can be set in the GitHub repository.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, I'll follow up with Bingbing offline. Then for number 53, so the context of this PR is we have some samples of how to use a certificate store in the notation verifier, but today we implicitly look for the certificate store in the installed Ratify installed namespace. But as Xinghe pointed out, like in the future, we don't want customers to install the certificate store in the Ratify namespace. So for his scenario, he's installing them in the default namespace. So he would like to see examples of how to specify specific namespaces. So that's why I've made this change. So Feynman, thanks for the comment. You asked if the namespace value is customizable apart from the default namespace, can users specify another namespace? Yes, so this one would be wherever you've specified, you applied your certificate store CRD. So it can be anything. Would you like me to put in like your certificate namespace instead or?
Sorry, could you rephrase your comment?
Sure. So currently it's default because this aligns with the scenario Xinghe is looking at. Like he reached out to me to ask for an example. So I thought I'll port it back to our documentation to provide an example with specific namespaces. For your comment, do you think it's clearer to the customer if I put in like, instead of default, I can have your store namespace instead of default? Is that the change that you'd like to see?
I think I think it is totally fine that put the default as the default value. I'm looking at the comment and see how can we better remind users that this namespace value is customizable, or they can put, or how they can choose which value that they can fill out in this field.
Yeah, default is a bit overused. Let me have a look at the
He has his hands up.
oh yeah, E, please go ahead.
Thanks. I have two questions. One is this namespace. So during Ratify installation, right, we install Ratify in a namespace. So for the CRDs, it can be different, right?
Correct.
But normally we install, when we install Ratify, the CRD are installed as well, right, to the same namespace.
That's right.
So-
And I
So-
don't
so
know if
here,
that's correct. It's what we're having a discussion with Xinghe is like Xinghe's point is Ratify is installed with Gatekeeper and it's kind of like a system service, whereas a certificate store, he believes it should be installed somewhere else. But in our current templates, they're installed in the Ratify install directory because they're populated from the default chart.
Yeah, so in that case, after, I mean, for Xinghe's case, after he installed the Ratify, because currently we only have one chart, right, including everything. So after that, maybe during installation, some store were not installed. Then he want to install or configure the store in a different namespace, right? This is Xinghe's case.
Yeah, Xinghe's case is he does not use the Ratify chart. So he have like custom charts. So there's two camp of customers that we have here. One that just want to configure some values and they don't want to maintain their custom chart. And there's another set of customers where maybe they're at enterprise level and they want to do a lot more customization.
Okay, so maybe one thing we can mention is that so during Ratify installation, right? If a customer using our Helm charts, so the CRDs will be installed to the namespace that the Ratify installed. Maybe we can highlight this or mention this. But for some customers, they have their own Helm charts or installation methods. It is okay that they can install the CRD into a different namespace. So for example, default could be one of the namespace, right? It could be other namespace.
Yeah, this is just an example of notation for the customer's reference. Yeah.
But
Josh, do you have any feedback?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just going to say it makes full sense. I mean, pulling back on my Stack Overflow experience, we would use default or a custom namespace for like a shared source, like shared CRDs or shared resources, and then keep all the system type stuff in another one. Like, so that makes total sense, that scenario. So just mentioning or documenting like you did here, this gives me enough information like, oh, I can change. Then it doesn't have to be Gatekeeper, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the intention, just showing an example. You can have your CRD somewhere else.
Yeah. Another question is, I know that Bing is working on the multi-tenancy, right? So, so maybe in multi-tenant scenarios, here the namespace could have some restrictions because it may related to some authorization related work. So, so maybe when Bing is back, we can check with this. I think currently we add this here so that the user knows that they can change the CRD. It is okay, but maybe we can do it better from different scenarios. For example, for multi-tenancy and for installation of the Helm charts that's provided by the Ratify community. And also another case is that user have their own installation Helm charts. Maybe we can be more clear on that.
Yeah, agreed. So that's another thing Xinghe pointed out, that Binbin is working on the multi-tenancy, and all these would actually change because we're
Yeah.
thinking about having cluster level resources versus namespace level. Like we will require more documentation on how do customer choose which CRD to use, etc. But for this PR, I just want to focus on getting the document up to date so that I can point Xinghe to, oh, by the way, if you want to use a specific namespace, this is an example.
Mm.
So that's the scope
Yeah.
of this PR.
Yeah, we can continuous improvement, do the improvement later. Yeah, no problem.
Sure. So Feynman and E, what can we agree on what else we want to change for this PR? Because I would like to ship it. So then my thinking is, once we have the documentation up on the website, I need to update the release notes as well for 1.1.
Do we need to update the release notes because release notes was already published, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in V1.1, we added this change to allow for specific namespaces because we previously had a bug where if the customer defined two CRDs and they have the same name and they belong to two different namespaces, they have this overriding behavior. So I want to add to the release note to specifically point out that we've fixed this issue, and if you run into this, you can refer to this example to point to the namespace of the CRD. If that makes sense, E.
Do we have this document on the website?
So this is a change. This PR modifies the current version of the documentation as well as the V1.1 version. So it's kind of like backporting to the shipped version.
I didn't remember how Akash did this. You remember that we had an issue after 1.1 that the type and the name of the Rego policy, right?
Yeah.
So how did Akash fix that document? So maybe we can follow the same. I don't think we need to change the release note, because if we change it, the release note becomes a moving target, right? That is not good. But we can update the document.
I see. Sure. So for the document, I'll check with Akash's change. I believe every time we release, there's a job that automatically generate a versioned document. So for example, you see these verifier MDs, they're the same file. So the doc reference CRD is the next version of the doc.
Yeah.
And the latest version of the doc, the last released one, is V1.1. So by porting this change over to the V1.1 version of the doc, I believe once it's live, the latest document would be updated. Sorry, if we go to that website, I think by default it points to V1.1. And if we merge this change, it would contain the namespace update.
Okay. But this is not a release note. I mean, I don't think we need to update the release note. We just update the document. So when user read the document, it will be updated.
I see. So with the release note, Yes, I think your point is like we shouldn't change it after we've published.
Yeah.
My perspective is more like if customer upgraded to V 1.1. So currently we just have like a link to the bug fix, the PR. But in the future, if they're looking to upgrade to V 1.1, if we have more up-to-date information, wouldn't that help with their upgrade experience or for them to evaluate if they should upgrade?
But this change will be reflected in the website, right? So in the release note, if we have the document pointing to user to the website and we fix the document in the website, I think that's fine.
I see.
We don't need to update the release notes.
I think Feynman has something to say.
Nothing special. So if you want to point the release note to this updated link or this updated document, I think that's fine. This is just a tiny change in the release notes. We will not update the content or the direction of the release notes. The deliverables will not be updated. We just update a minor link, a minor change in the guidance link, right? I think that's your intention.
So I want to add more details. So currently we just briefly say, oh, we fixed this bug. But I want to include, like, if you run into this issue, this is how you can fix it with the updated version of the V 1.1 Ratify. Like, I think it provides better guidance if we updated the release note.
In my opinion, I think this kind of change is acceptable because users will understand how can they handle this issue if they encounter that. And you just provide a clear path to the solution.
Yeah,
in the release
it
note.
is. Yeah, in a way, this is kind of missed in the release note. Like it's the change, the PR itself is linked in the release note saying, oh, we fixed this, but we didn't really highlight and add any context on, by the way, if you ran into this issue, you should upgrade to V 1.1 because we fixed it. Like, I just want to highlight that.
From my point of view, I think the tiny change is acceptable in the release note.
Yeah, is that okay with you, E?
I don't have a strong opinion about this. I'm just thinking that in general, when we release, when we do the release, we have the document ready, right? So, I mean, when user, if I understood correctly, you want to add a specific information for a specific bug, right?
Yeah. And this is already, the bug fix itself is already mentioned in the release note. I just want to add some blurb around it to help customer if they evaluating if they should upgrade.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have a strong opinion on this. We can do that.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. So I'll get this PR in first. So Feynman, is it okay to leave it as default? Or do you want me to change it to something else?
It's fine to leave it as default because it's just an example.
Yeah, exactly. Just an example.
For the comment of this field, I'm trying to giving a much straightforward wording here. I'm commenting on it.
Okay, sure. I'll follow up offline. Yeah, whatever your suggestion is, I can adopt that and update the comment as well for the verification certificate store.
Yeah, I'm editing it, and I think we can skip it right now because I need to double confirm whether it is accurate or not.
Yep, sounds good. Cool. So that's the 2 PRs we have for the doc repo. Back to the meeting notes. Just giving a refresh to see if anyone have any other topics. So nothing else on the list. Anyone have other topics to cover?
Regarding, please go ahead. Yi.
Yeah, I just want to mention that I'm reviewing Akash's document about cosine, and that the cosine support and some improvements on the cosine experience are our focus for the next release. So I'm reviewing this document. So when Akash is back, we can have a further discussion on that. Okay, please, Feynman.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Another upcoming change in the Ratify website. So as you know, we will add the built-in search capability to the website, and another contributor who is working on it, and she committed that she will raise a PR to add this built-in search capability to the website. So I will tag Susan you to help review that PR later.
Okay, sounds great. So someone volunteered to implement the search.
Correct. It's actually the person who contributed to the website at the beginning. You can find her name from the contributor list.
Okay, cool. So I'll put in a note. Search is coming. Coming soon. It's great news.
Just a quick note. Would there be any value in kind of like a debrief, so to speak? You know, like from my onboarding experience with Ratify and kind of some things that I found. Like I don't know what form would be that. I mean, we could sync offline or something like that. But if that's valuable, I'm willing to put some time on the calendar, just talk through what I found and what kind of made me scratch my head and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that'll be super helpful. Like a developer get started experience with Ratify. I think we can start with the document, Josh, if you are happy to just have a document with the bullet points of your feedback and perspective. And then when we have more people on the call, like Louise, Akash, and Binbin, and I think it'll be a great learning for all of us.
Sounds good. I'll do that.
Yeah, and Josh, we've typically have like HackMD links in this meeting notes. Like this is where people put their personal notes. So if you want to do that as well, like you can just set up a HackMD profile and then kind of link your document to the agenda whenever you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that.
And Josh, we also have the contributing MD that's intended to help developers to get started. So if you have any little bits to add to the document, that'll be super helpful too.
Cool. I should, so I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow. I'm going to walk through the dev setup that Akash helped me with. So maybe I can even link that as well. So that way there's some video on, you know, like here's the container and how to stage your artifacts with ORAS and that kind of thing.
Yeah, fancy. With the video tutorial. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's been a lot of fun.
Josh.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, do you feel the development environment setup in your local machine is a little bit hard?
So I stuck with the command line. So the command line was okay. It was pretty good. But Akash did say like it's a little bit more complicated when you want to do the web server stuff and deploy it to Kubernetes. So I haven't got there, but the command line wasn't too bad. I was able to get around and compile things and test it pretty easily. But from what I hear from Akash, the other scenario is a little bit different. More moving pieces.
Yeah, from my experience, the Kubernetes debug workflow, I think you cannot really like attack. You have to route the traffic if you want to debug it. So
Mhm.
there's two things, right? Like you might want to locally debug it, and you might have to set up some additional bridge to route the traffic so it comes to your local. But if you just want to test it out in the Kubernetes environment, like you can build your dev image and then update the charts to point to your dev image and do verifications that way. But without Kubernetes, you can also just run the server and curl request, verification request to
Oh,
the
there you
server.
go.
So like,
Clever.
so there's like different layers of verification there. But yeah, it's interesting. Glad you had fun, Josh. There's a thin line between fun and frustrated. Like when you got it working, it's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're
Yeah,
stuck,
I ran into that. I had to pull myself back because I was going on a deep rabbit hole of JSON
Yeah.
parsing for the standard output. And
Yeah.
I was getting too far. And I was like, I had to detach a little bit, pull myself back, and be
Yeah.
like, okay, what's the program expecting? Let's kind of limit the use cases to that. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
need to rewrite a whole JSON parsing library for this PR.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good time. So
Yeah, it's great to know. Okay, that's everything then today. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll catch
thanks
up
for hosting.
again next week.
Sounds good. See you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Stay
Thank you, everyone.
warm wherever you are. I think there's a storm in Seattle right now.
It's going to be negative
Wow.
22 here next week.
Do you
Not
go
in Seattle,
outside
but
then?
I did. Yeah. I went to the gym.
Okay.
It's only, I think it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit here right now,
Yeah.
but it's going to get colder.
Okay. Stay warm, everybody.
Will do. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.